Hello, I'm Sydney and welcome back to my Flock and Squawk. This week I will be making a pumpkin pie. So let's bring it in and make the crust. So first up, we are going to put all of our dry ingredients together. This is 2 cups flour, ½ teaspoon salt, a ½ teaspoon baking powder, and a tablespoon of sugar. You will also need extra flour for rolling out. Now for our wet ingredients. You are going to need 3/4 cup butter, 1/4 cup ice cold water, 1 egg yolk, and a ½ tablespoon of vinegar. So now that I have my water, vinegar, and egg yolk at the ready, I'm going to bring out my butter. One of the main things about making pie crust is that it has to be very cold. You don't want the butter to melt. So these have been in the fridge for a couple hours, but they were previously just in the freezer. And I'm going to take my dough cutter and use this to cut it down into pieces. I'm using this instead of a knife because it has just a nicer edge to use. A nicer edge for my hand to press through on. So now that I have my butter cut up, I am going to put it in the flour and use this to blend it in. Using this means that the heat of my hands hopefully does not melt the butter too much or warm it up too much while I work the dough. But sometimes you do just have to get your hands in there. You essentially want your butter to be slightly smaller than a pea. So now that my butter is fairly dispersed within the flour mixture, I'm going to add in my egg yolk. and give this a little bit of a mix. And then my vinegar and some of my water. The vinegar is supposed to help give you an extra flaky crust. And you want just enough water for it to come together. So I'm going to just put in all of it and give it a go. You want to work it as little as possible. So now I'm going to wrap this up. So now this is wrapped up. I'm going to put it in the fridge for a couple hours. Now this is pretty orange. I just have the sugar, the evaporated milk, and the pumpkin in here so far, and it's very orange. Now I like to sort of freestyle the spices, and I'm kind of looking for a very tanned color as opposed to orange. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go for it. So my main that I go for is cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, and clove. So I just sort of, sorry, that was the dog. I just load up on the spices. The only one I sort of restrain myself is the clove because of the spice that it has. And I'm mixing this up while the oven is preheating and my dough is still in the fridge, yet to be rolled out, so. So I just taste and mix taste until I get the flavor I want. Also, don't forget to add eggs. That tastes about right, so I'm going to add my eggs. And like that, my filling is ready for when I go to bake it. So here's my dough. It's been resting, and I've pulled out my pie plate. So the reason why I did not roll this out before making my filling is because I don't want it to get too warm before I put it in the oven. And part of the reason why I can't roll it out, put it in my pie plate, then put it in the fridge, is because the glass pie plates cannot go directly from the fridge into the oven. The difference in temperature can crack the glass and essentially ruin it. And then your pie would also have gone to waste. So I'm just going to roll this out. This should be enough for 2 pies, but I will see. I'm only making 1 pie. I'm going to roll it. And turn it. So now I'm going to take my pie dish. It looks like it might be about the right size. So I'm just going to take it and kind of adjust it so hopefully I can fill in the sides a little by pressing it all the way down. Take a little from here. Hopefully get that. So obviously my pie crust is a little on the rustic side. And then I'm just going to take off some of the edge and just lightly build up this side. And now with a fork, before I add the filling, I'm just going to dock it. Then I'm going to put this on a cookie sheet and add the filling. Yes, it feels like a lot of filling for the amount of pie crust, but it'll do. Now we're just going to put this in the oven for about 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes at 425, and then I'm going to bring the temperature down to 350 for 40-ish minutes. Once this pie comes out, I'm going to let it cool, and then I will show you how it looks. Hey guys, so that's how I made my pumpkin pie. I forgot to film a wrap up during that, so when I was editing I saw I forgot to film the ending. But as you saw, it was a very beautiful pumpkin pie. This year it didn't crack across the top, which I'm pretty pleased with. And as you saw in the brief clip, the rest of that pie dough, because the recipe I gave was for a double crust, and a pumpkin pie is only the bottom crust, I took the rest of that dough, rolled it out relatively thin, and used cookie cutters to cut it out. I then put it on a baking sheet and did a slight egg wash, which was just a single egg beaten. I didn't add any water or anything. And then I took a brush and I just brushed the tops of them and sprinkled a little bit of a coarse ground sugar. Then I popped them in the oven alongside the pie. I just watched, and about the same time that the pie needed to drop temperature, the top crust pieces that I had cut out were about done, and so I just set a separate timer, separate from the pie, to double check in on them. They needed a couple more minutes based on the thickness of it, but just by visually looking at them, I pulled them when they were ready. That is a super easy way to use up some random bits of leftover dough. And honestly, after using the cookie cutters on some bit, all the little scraps of dough I just pushed together, rolled out thin to about the same thickness, and put that on its own cookie sheet, so it was one giant pie crust cookie. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see more of. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.